What is good? Everyone, has been a while. Permission to live. I know that it's been a minute, but I'm excited to be back in the studio,
Me
BJ.
too. Me too.
Really, really excited. There's a lot of growth, I think, that has occurred with both of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's so much clarity
Yes.
that we've been able to gain individually
Hmm.
throughout the last couple months.
Yeah. So, you're such a dynamic person and your insight. I mean, I can't think of a time that I've talked to you that I haven't gotten anything from your conversation. You drop pearls of wisdom all the time. So I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of insight from you because you are tell everybody what your credentials are.
Oh, for sure. So I am a licensed therapist. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm also an adjunct professor. I teach at UNC Charlotte as well as Johnson C. Smith. Um, I'm a mama, you know, I'm all those things as it relates to multiple roles that we have to work through and live through. So yeah, it's a couple things.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
just a couple things. So
Yeah,
I'm excited.
that's right. I'm a radio personality by trade, 39 years in broadcasting, um, community brother, just out here trying to make a difference in the world, trying to help my brothers and sisters understand who they are, enlighten everybody that comes into contact with us.
For sure.
So that's our mission with Permission to Live, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like, how do we live? How do we find ourselves in what we're going through, right? How do we actually find, I don't even want to use the word purpose because it's just overly saturated. You know what I mean? So it's more than just purpose, man. It's just living. How can you do that in the midst of whatever you're dealing with, So,
You said something earlier before we started the show, or I was talking to somebody else you said it about the pandemic. We have just come through a period in history unlike any other, where the whole world shut down at the same time. And how did that affect people's psyche?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think we really given the full weight of what just happened to us.
For sure, for sure. I think people are seeing it and are recognizing it. I know that within the mental health field and arena, a lot of my colleagues are just being able to understand the isolation and the lack of connection that many people are feeling now. It has impacted their mental health, especially, good gosh, for children and adolescents. Think about being at the house, being at home, doing everything virtual, not being able to be social, which is developmentally appropriate for kids and teenagers.
Right.
Being stuck on social media, getting all of your information on social media, and the algorithms, I think, is messing a lot of our kids up because they don't understand when they start to look at certain things and their feed just starts to gear towards that certain thing.
Yeah.
And that could be indeed their life. So,
right.
So yeah, that isolation and lack of connection has impacted a lot of folks, increasing the depression, anxiety, and all that.
Right. So you need somebody to talk to.
For sure.
And you need not only somebody to talk to, but the right person to talk to. Because you talk to the wrong person, you may be even more depressed.
You're right. Yeah. You're right about that. You got to find somebody, and even more than that, you have to, before you even talk to somebody, I feel like you have to have the courage to know within yourself that it's time.
Yeah.
And be able to identify those things that you need to talk about. It's COVID stuff, but it's also the dysfunction of our country, period. There's multiple dysfunctions within our country, within every state has their own level of dysfunction. There's family dysfunction, system dysfunction, community dysfunction. So I think so many individuals are trying to find where they're missing life, where they're missing the ability to actually live. But when you have so much noise around you, it's hard to be able to identify where you're lacking.
Who do you think is under more pressure in today's world? Is it women or men?
Don't you get me the line. I don't know. I don't know if it's, if we can say which is under more pressure. I think there's a different kind of pressure. But as it relates to quantifying that, I can't say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about women though, and the anxiety and the weight that women carry,
Mm-hmm.
if it
Mm-hmm.
was me talking, I would say our sisters got a lot on them because they're having to support households, take care of the children, in and out of dysfunctional relationships. We need companionship. And sometimes, the sisters have a hard time finding a proper mate,
Yeah.
which causes anxiety and stress, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I would love to talk about that. But on the flip side, you can also ask yourself the question, why is it that women are in those predicaments as it relates to the lens of the man? Because I really believe that men, particularly men of color, want to be that for women, but because they have this plight or this dysfunction that they've been forced to live in to some degree.
Yeah.
They're like, man, I don't know how to. So they default to, well, I guess I'm not. But I think many men really want to and just are so lost because they don't know how to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, even if they attempt to be that for their partner or their children, and this might sound like a cop-out to many, but if you really understand the depth of how systemic racism or things like institutional racism or just the way in which the family has been separated over time, and how that has impacted the self-esteem of Black men, or men in general. No, I would kind of really define it in this regard, how that has taken so much away from Black men. Is like, do Black men really know who they're supposed to be? Who's teaching them?
Wow, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Who's really teaching them? And those that are teaching them, are they teaching them correctly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I was, it's crazy. I was watching yesterday. I started watching the series Dear Mama, the Tupac series.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he said, and I wrote it down, and he referenced, of course, his mom, but he said, this is what my mom has taught me. And I think a lot of men have been taught by what their mom has taught them.
Right. Yeah.
And not that it's a bad thing, but is it all that they need?
It's hard for a woman, and it sounds a little bit offensive in some aspects, but a woman can't teach a man how to be a man because of the nature that we are created in. There's a difference, right? So a woman can be a good guide. She can give out good principles for us to follow, but he has to have an example in front of him that he can emulate. And I think that's very important. I think you can't leave that out of the equation. But hey, these mothers have done a wonderful job in raising outstanding sons.
Better believe it.
Like, you done that yourself. So that's why I'm saying, giving full context to it. But the anxiety that we are living under right now, I think there's the spiritual aspect of our lives. If we would dive into that, we not being like a holy roller type person, but I'm talking about just knowing who you are as a person and then knowing your relationship to your creator. And I was thinking about this the other day about it's like our divinity, right?
Yeah.
If the reason why we're having so many problems, I believe, is because we don't see the divinity in one another. I'm not looking at you, especially the Black woman, my God, as a divine creature of the creator who's able to reproduce life. How much respect and reverence should I have for you? And if I really understood your value like that, and then you understand and respect my value, wouldn't we have a beautiful experience every time we got together? Because you're looking at people of that are miracles.
Yeah. I think, I would love people to ask themselves the question of how did we lose value for one another? And then how did you lose value within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When it comes down to value, you know, I think living in the society in which we're living in, you have so much that's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you try to determine the many things that's in front of you, what is meant for you, it could be so hard.
Right.
And then when you have all of the roles that you play, and I'm glad that you're up in Black women and women in general, because we do play many roles.
No doubt.
And it is a lot.
Yes.
And try to put yourself into the place of trying to be strong in those many roles when you have so many decisions to make, the anxiety associated with that. So making decisions for your children, making decisions for yourself, trying to determine for many professional advancement, what does that look like? Anxiety associated with that. Partners and partnership, what does that look like? The understanding of spirituality and knowing that for many, that's what's needed in order to continue on living a life of certainty and being firm in something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's so much anxiety that many women have to deal with. And with all of those roles, which one of those things has grabbed your determination of value or has assisted in diminishing your value?
That's deep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you've got to know that, right? Because I was about to ask you, like, the anxiety that we as men put on women is tremendous.
Talk about it, BJ. What kind of anxiety?
Well, you know, when you were talking, I was thinking about, we did a show a while back and we were talking about something as simple as cleaning up behind yourself. And so she comes home from work, you sitting there looking at TV, the dishes are in the sink, dinner's not cooked. Do you take into consideration any of that? Because somebody's got to do it, and she does it, but why can't you do it?
Yeah.
Why can't you clean up and let her come home and just plop her feet up and get ready for the next day?
Who taught y'all that?
Wow.
Who taught y'all that? And that's not real partnership. And that's what I meant. I mean, this just...
I think I opened up a can of worms.
Let's just talk about it.
Okay.
Right? And I think that I mentioned it as, you know, earlier. It's like, who taught men that it is the sole role of the woman to do everything and be everything to everybody?
Man, it's so unfair when I think about it.
Yeah, it is. And I think so many of us women, we do it because we love hard, right? And then by the time we realize that this isn't real partnership, for many, they feel like it's too late. Women, is never too late. I'm gonna let you know that it's never too late.
Okay.
But they feel like, man, I've been doing it for so long. Like, this is really what it means to be a woman. I really do believe that religion and the thought of religious beliefs, whether they're, you know, many are man-made per se, but it's like, yeah, you got to go to work, but you also got to come home and do the second job.
Yeah.
And you probably have a third job, because being a wife is a job. Being a mother is a job. Being able to care for a home is a job. And then I got to work a 9 to 5 and sometimes a part-time on top of that in order to make ends meet.
Jesus.
But then the man works a 9 to 5, come home and chill.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you see it.
Yeah.
But there is not, there's women, I want you to know that there are men that understand true partnership.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
I like that, true partnership.
Yes.
You know what? And we're not taught that at all. We watch our fathers play a role. The woman cooks. My mom came home. She had the food in it, took it out the freezer, had it thawing. When she came home, she cooked. She washed clothes. I never seen my father wash no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Hang clothes out on the clothesline. You know what I'm saying? None of the so-called domestic things that are attached with womanhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is kind of awkward to be with a woman who doesn't take pride in that.
Mm.
I think that's kind of strange.
Yeah,
But she shouldn't be the one that's her total responsibility. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, I know for myself, oh my God, I've been so unfair to my wife. And oh my God, I'm making up for it. And last time I talked to you, I'm conscious and aware of washing the dishes, of cleaning up the living room, of doing the things like making up the bed, starting there.
Yeah.
You know, just the little things I think will make a difference in people feeling respected.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't, you know, I'm gonna get back to, you know, gender roles, because I don't necessarily like the idea of gender roles.
Okay.
I would like to push the idea of love roles.
Okay.
You know, if you love me, I don't care who you are going to want to make sure that I'm okay.
Wow.
So if you see that I'm beat,
wow,
I don't care what you think I should do, because you love me, you are going to help me be able to be in a space where I can think freely, where I can be my creative self, where I don't have to always think about what's the next task that I have to complete. You know, so think about anxiety.
Yeah.
All right. And just think about it from the context of what we're talking about. A woman, just think about it, that has to get up in the morning, have to get the kids ready for school, food, clothes. First off, you got to fight the kids to get up.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So you already getting up with the task in mind. And then you, if you are in a relationship, you have to, you know, make sure your partner is good.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that looked like in the morning, right? Making sure that your partner is good, then get them off to school. Then you have to switch your brain to get to work, to be that professional that you have to be. So you have to, I'm talking about in the matter of minutes, right? In the matter of minutes, your brain and your brain function is going to have to adjust. That within itself is so much work.
Yeah.
So then you got 8, 9, 10 hours sometimes of having to adjust to your professional self, and then get in a car or get on a bus or get on a train and then readjust your brain in the anxiety of having to go home and say, all right, kids got homework. I got to cook. I got to clean. I got to make sure that my partner is good. And anywhere along that space, where is time for you to literally be able to think about what you need and what you want?
Wow. And women feel guilty about being selfish. And I wouldn't even call it being selfish. You know, you talk about, I like the word self-care. Just that self-care. That's not even a word that we embrace. But we should embrace it.
There's actually there's many models and that's out there. And I want to make sure folks are clear that I'm speaking from Shantae. I'm not speaking from the lens of therapist or professor. I'm speaking from the lens of Shantae. But every now and again, I will talk and it'll be information that I provide from what I do. That makes sense, you know. But there's so many models out there that are speaking the idea that self-care really doesn't exist, that it's an acceptance of the situation that you're in. Tough, because you do need to care for yourself. But this is a challenge. And I'm not saying that I'm still like this with it. I'm still juggling with the idea. But if there is situations that you're in and that you choose to be in, is there an acceptance of that? Okay, so we are not acknowledging the self-care piece. You are saying, and I like this, acceptance for the situation that you are in. How do you manage that? Yeah. Is that's what you're saying? Yeah, it's like it's many of us have realized that there are some things that we don't have. We don't have a choice, right? You got to be able to care for your home.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to work, right? What kind of work depends on you.
Right.
You know, if you don't, like what you're doing, how can you change that?
Yeah.
Right. I know that in the mental health field, there's a certain level of acceptance that I have to have with the level of stress that I might have, because I'm dealing with individuals who are working through some tough situations in their life. There's a level of that that's going to be stressful.
Yeah.
There's an acceptance that I have to have according to that. So how can I care for myself along with accepting the situation that I have accepted for me?
Okay. So couldn't there be a different lane in self-care where a person has a ritual that every day they take time out to journal, self-talk, meditate? That could be.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that self-care doesn't exist. I'm just saying that there's that folks out there that say
use it. Yeah.
Self-care, in certain disciplines is not there.
Yeah.
I do believe in self-care, but I feel like the term self-care, is oversat. It has lost its power over time.
Okay.
I feel like you, have to accept and adjust, right? In order for you to be happy, i.e., for example, if you get up in the morning saying that you hate your job, how is your day going to go? How could you even be in a space to care for yourself if you get up and like, I hate everything that I do.
Wow.
I hate being a mom. I hate being a wife. I hate, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you get up and say, this is a situation that I'm in for right now because I'm choosing or I'm working through something else. Let me go ahead and accept this situation. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about anything crazy. I'm talking in general, right? I'm working here for right now. I'm working through something else. I'm going to be the best self that I can be here so that my mind could be free to think about what it is that I need to do to get out of it. If my mental space and energy is always in regret, is always in hate, is always in I hate this, and I can't stand this, you are not going to have the mental capacity or the energy to put into anything that's going to push you forward to something else.
Yeah. Well said.
Does that make, what I mean?
Yeah.
And y'all, for me, self-care is so much more. And that's why I don't like using the word, because again, you associate it to things like, well, some, not all, getting your nails done, and which for some it could be, but for me, I can be getting my nails done and my mind is still going crazy. I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, I can't wait till you finish with this because I got stuff to do when I get to the crib.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. It's like, how are you intentionally? So intentional care.
Yeah.
That's,
write that down.
Is intentional care. In opposed to self-care. It's like, just being intentional about what really makes you happy. What are you doing to make you happy? What connections are you making?
Let's go into that. That's great. That's great. That's a great road to travel on for a minute. Intentional care. People are not intentional because they're letting things happen to them. Right. So I got this job. I got this person on this job that bothers me and causes me anxiety. And when I go there, I'm frozen for 8 hours. Or when I go home, my relationship is not what it needs to be. So I feel like I'm trapped. But you're not trapped. You are, like you said, you're choosing. You're accepting something, but you don't really have to. So how can somebody begin to live an intentional existence when they wake up in the morning that everything that they're doing is in harmony with what they want to do?
Yeah. For one, I think many people remain in situations because of fear.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like, once you can overcome the idea of fear, then you could overcome and embrace the idea of being empowered. right? So if I'm afraid to go back to school, or if I'm afraid to update my resume to put out, if I'm afraid to push myself towards entrepreneurship, if I'm afraid to leave this horrible relationship that has been bringing me down, right? It's going to be really, really hard for you to be personally intentional about what you need for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But many people remain in situations because of fear.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of find that intentional empowerment. What does that look like for you? My empowerment came with connection.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought my box was my reality.
Yeah.
Like my box was all that I had. Like I was just living in this
Mm-hmm.
box. And then I'm like, man, there's actually a life outside of this box. But I had to connect with individuals who was like, how about this? I had to trust individuals first in order to connect with them.
Yeah.
To hear or to see that there is a life outside of what I'm living.
Right. So people get stuck in one city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they stay there a long time, and you're there, you pay rent, you go to wherever you go, you got your little small circle of friends, and maybe some of them are not supportive, and you get in a rut. Next 10 years, you find yourself turning into this dull person.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may wake up, go somewhere, and you say, you know what? I don't have to live like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it could happen that quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can have an epiphany. You're saying, man, I used to do this, but now how did I get stuck here for 5 years? Just going to work, coming home, doing the same thing over and over again. And I don't have anything to really look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. Many people find themselves in that circle, and I ain't even gonna hold you. It is not easy for many to just get up and go and do something different.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's just the reality. Many of our brothers and sisters out there are struggling. And they have so much and so many obligations that it's really hard for them to be able to get up and just do something. But I challenge everybody to acknowledge that they want to do something,
Mm-hmm.
that they need to do something, that there is more in this life for them, and it's about a mindset. But finding yourself in that circle of redundancy has, in my opinion, has a lot to do with the inability to challenge yourself because of probably who you're around and what you're doing.
So that thing is
and
true
how you're
about
spending your time.
That thing is true about the circle, what is it, that the people that you're around.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it properly, but like they are a composite of the rest of your life.
Yes.
The 3 or 4 people that you hang around or something like that.
Yeah. If you around people that's not doing nothing and don't want to do nothing, you ain't gonna do nothing.
Right.
I mean, it's just being honest. It's like people that's wanting, and I'm not saying that they have the plan.
Yeah.
Right. It's just that energy to say, yo, what we doing today?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead. You're gonna write a little bit today, you're gonna write a little bit tomorrow. Like, let's brainstorm about dreaming. Let's brainstorm about doing something, being up out of the situation. Like, if you don't have that motivation or people that's gonna connect you to move forward, it's gonna be hard. If you're connecting yourself with individuals who are okay. And there's nothing wrong with being content either.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But if you're not the content type and you always want to challenge yourself, you got to be with individuals that's going to help you challenge yourself. If you around people that's always dramaful.
Yeah.
I can't take it, man. I can't be around drama. I can't be around non-peaceful people.
Yeah.
I've learned that I have a choice to say, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Today is not the day. Tomorrow might not be the day either.
Right.
But you got to surround yourself with people that, is going to push you to whatever that next level is for you.
You know what a beautiful evening would be?
Hmm.
In the summertime, you and a group of your closest friends, and y'all decided we're going to go have dinner at this restaurant. We'll have a brainstorming meeting,
Mhm.
and we're going to take 30 minutes to concentrate on each individual, and we all are going to help you, you know, brainstorm and imagine what it
Mhm.
could look like if you did X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that be an exhilarating experience, right?
It
To
would.
know that you are around people that want to see you be successful.
For sure. For sure.
Man, that's, I mean, we need that.
Yeah.
That could just water our soul, and you would leave that saying, wow, you know, I have people that believe in me. And those are the people that you need to just be around all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah. Being around them and trusting them. We have lost so much trust in each other to where you're even afraid to share your dreams with other people because you're like, how you going to view that? You're going to take my idea? That's a bunch of crap. But it's unfortunately for some, you know, it has been their reality. They've been disappointed and you know what I mean? But being around people, being around dreamers, everybody can't be dreamers though. You got to have that person that's going to say, how are we going to execute? You know, you have to be intentional about people. I'm a dream. You're going to tell me how to do it. Somebody's going to be logistics. Somebody's going to be, you know, the person that's going to make the calls.
That's right.
It's like, yo, you got to be around people that's going to push you.
Yeah.
And again, for those that are content with where they are, baby, do you and love the space that you are in. Just make sure that you being intentional about living the life that you want to in that space.
Right.
Because there's people that's like, I'm good where I am, you know, and I love that. I've always admired individuals where it doesn't take them much. You know, it's like, yo, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, you can find peace. Just don't lose yourself in that.
That's right.
You know, with all of the roles. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, listen, everybody, this is Permission to Live. We had a great episode today, and I love to hear you come up with these different phrases. Like you just came up with intentional care.
Intentional care. And love roles.
And love roles. Love roles.
Love roles.
Because the topic today is about being strong through anxiety. And also I learned about true partnerships.
For sure.
And you want to, you know, all you sisters out there that's looking for a man, and we got to talk about what Ebony K. Williams, you heard about her talking about what kind of man that she wants. I think somebody asked the question, would you date a bus driver? You heard about that, right? And she said, well, only if he drove the bus. And people got offended. But that was her personal choice. I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with what she said. That she wants somebody that's into ownership.
Yeah. You know, I think to each his own. You know, I do feel that I do feel sometimes though that men have become their worth has become their pockets.
Yeah.
I don't dig that.
Me either.
You know, I don't dig that. You know what I mean? You bring a lot to the table. Don't come with, you know what I'm saying? I'm not putting you on my back.
Right.
You know, and I'm not, you know, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
But there's so much more, man. Give me someone who is taking care of their business financially. I'm not putting a dollar sign on that finance, but you're taking care of your business financially.
Yeah.
And you're giving me unconditional love. You are giving me true partnership. You are caring for and respecting our relationship to the point where I can go to sleep at night in peace. I can wake up in the morning in peace. I can come home from work and I know I'm going to be good.
Yeah.
There's so much more to relationship and true partnership than a dollar sign. But you got to have a dollar sign attached. There's something on there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we can talk about that for sure.
Yeah, that's another great topic. Right. All right, y'all. So we're wrapping up another episode of Permission to Live.
Yeah.
And any final thoughts you want to?
It's been wonderful, you guys. You know, I'm looking forward to connecting with everyone that is connected to our ideas, our thoughts. You know, it's not going to be for everybody, but for those that are connecting, please follow. You guys can follow me at Shantae Vines on Instagram. And I'm excited to live. You know, I can't wait to talk about my trip to Africa. The Morocco trip was dope. It was so dope. But man, it's time for us to live. It's time for us to understand what that means.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's time for us to be intentional about it.
All right. So the next show, we're going to come up with some more phrases from Shantae Vines. I'm BJ Murphy. Thank y'all so much for watching us on Permission to Live.
Yes.
We'll check you out next time.
That's what's up.